Hi, welcome to another edition of OnsideSA. Let's try that again. Welcome to another edition of OnsideSA, where we've got it down to 11 left in the last one standing. Budge, action time now.
Yeah, not a pressure, Paul. Having a cup of tea with our man Garth Whitehead Colours, and a lot of advice he's getting. I just hope he's not giving it to Carol, because she's flying and we don't need any interference.
Yeah. Just looking, three women, there was three women and it's now down to about 30% or women.
Done great,
Carol Whitehead, Ashley Berger and Katharina Harito, is that right?
Joe girl, yeah.
So those three have done very well.
Brilliant, Paul.
You know, from all those people who started, there's three girls still going. That leaves eight men. Ravesh Bardassi.
Yeah, Ravesh, yeah.
Okay, Alan Costa, Gary Citron without the E,
Yeah.
Dave Harker, Barry Humphreys,
Yeah.
Calvin Cass, boy from the south, Johnny Bravo himself, and Alan Duplessis from the famous Hillary clan.
Yeah, Hillary clan, yeah.
Closing time?
11 o'clock Saturday, Paul. Yeah, they've all been told, so...
It's easy to maintain now at 11, you know.
Yeah.
You've normally got an opinion of who seems to have the driving seat.
Paul, is a Stella boy, I think, at the moment's Toad favourite.
Who's that?
Well, you should know. You would have played against his brother.
Certainly one of the girls. I went straight to the girls.
You looked at the girls first.
I looked at the girls, yeah. Costa.
Alan Costa's Toad favourite at the moment, yeah.
Okay.
But, Paul, we know what it's like.
Previous champions, none.
Two gone.
All two gone. Runner-up, boy from the south from last time.
Yeah.
Okay, that's excellent. We know where we stand with them. Let's go on to football and Steve about.
Steve, good morning.
Good morning.
Morning, Steve.
Well done with your Fulham promotion.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, I'd like to say it was never in doubt. We had a wobble last week, but you know, we had the games in hand and the belief that we were going to do it. And you know, they did it in style. Once the first goal went in, and Mitrovic backfiring again, it was never really in doubt.
That sounds wrong when you say backfiring. that's very ambiguous.
It was backfiring against
It was
my
firing
Preston
again,
boys.
not backfiring.
Steve, what do you think is going to happen with Fulham going forward? Do you think...
You're not going to go backwards,
True, but towards the next season, do you think there'll be several new signings coming in?
Oh no, I mean, there has to be. I think, you know, there is no question that the gap between the Championship and the Premier League is getting bigger. Even though I would like to think we've got the best squad of players in the Championship, it isn't a Premiership squad.
Yeah.
And therefore, I think everybody knows that we need probably 4 or 5 good additions to the squad. But the difference this season compared to the last 2 where we went up in the playoffs is that, you know, they've got an extra sort of 6 weeks or so to do something about looking at the sort of recruitment, you know, rather than having to leave it late and doing it in the, you know, almost as the transfer window approaches, which hasn't worked for us. So, you know, and I think, you know, the owners know this. They know what's needed. Marco Silva will know what's needed. So there'll be a bit of a clear out. There'll be some players coming to the end of their contract. We won't offer them new ones, and you know, we just need to get the right players in. It's not about spending a fortune. It's spending money on the right type of player. But you know, Marco Silva has brought. You know, it's probably been the most exciting season for a long time. So, I mean, we have to be, you know, cautiously optimistic that we'll get it right. You know, we don't want to keep going up and down, and it would be nice just to, you know, as Brentford.
They do at Brentford.
You know, they had a wobble, but you know, do a Brentford. They recruited well. They didn't spend a fortune, but they bought the right type of players that gelled with the ones they already had, and that's, you know, that's something that we need to do. Is not sort of make wholesale changes. It's just sort of get the right players to play the way that Silva wants to play. And, you know, we finish 17th or above, I'll be happy next year.
Steve, Saturday you play Bournemouth. If you win that, by my calculations, you win the league. Is that correct?
We do, yeah. I mean, we would do. Effectively, we would be 12 clear of them. They would have 4 games left, but with the goal difference as it is, they couldn't overtake us. And, you know, listening to the Marco Silva, listening to the players, you know, they're determined to go down there and try and win the league.
Yeah.
You know, it's some people seem to think, oh, well, we're up now and that's it, but it isn't. I think they really want to finish the job. You know, going up is fine, but they want to be remembered as champions. So even a draw will probably be enough, because Bournemouth have got some tough games coming up. So, you know, I mean, obviously it would be nice to do it in style. Obviously, there's a little bit of needle with Scott Parker, who left us and went to Bournemouth.
Yeah.
So I think the players would certainly, Mitrovic particularly, I think, would like to go down there, and he's 2 off equaling the Guy Whittingham record with 4 games to go. So I think he would definitely be looking to target to score down there on Saturday.
So you'll be taking the penalties if one comes up.
He does, yeah, he does anyway. And this season he's done well. A couple of seasons ago he missed 1 or 2, but this season he's been pretty deadly when we've had a few penalties.
Steve, just a quick question. Is there a cash difference or incentive for first or second in the championship?
Not exceptionally, no, not really. I mean, both teams go up and they get the TV money. You know, that's the real cash incentive of going up.
Yeah.
But I just think it's the prestige, and the players want to have. You know, they said they want a winners' medal.
I
you know,
agree.
we've gone up the last 2 times in the playoffs. They're great. Nobody remembers really that you came third, and when they look at their trophy cabinet, they want to see a winners' medal. So I think they have a big incentive to. And also, I think, you know, for most of the season we've been top, and people have been talking about us being the best team in the league. Well, you want to prove that by finishing top. So, you know, I'd be very surprised if we don't really go for it.
Yeah, I think we've got it on ESPN, so hopefully it'll be a good game.
Yeah, it's not on here, which is strange, isn't it, when you think first against second, but the game is not on here.
Oh, okay. No problem. Well, I wish the game that wasn't on Tuesday night was second against fifth, Man United, Liverpool. If that had been a boxing match, I think the towel would have come in after about 20 minutes, Steve. What do you think?
Well, I mean, again, I was at Fulham. I was listening to all the pundits driving home afterwards, and, you know, United fans calling in. I mean, they just were appalled really at the effort of some of the players, and the fact that it's just gone so badly wrong so quickly. Poor really, display. You know, no, not a good word to say about the caretaker manager.
The highlight, Steve, the highlight of the game was the whole crowd standing up in the 7th minute and clapping for CR7.
I heard about that.
That was the highlight.
You know,
for Man United, anyway.
Yeah.
So it shows you take Ronaldo out the team and they're toothless.
Yeah,
so,
they are.
You know, I guess not. It was an expected home win, but not as easy as it was, and it just shows the gulf between the 2 teams at the moment.
Yeah,
it's huge.
Yeah, and all the commitment. This German's an imposter, in my opinion. You can have all your badges and all this, but when you get on the training ground, that's where it really happens. And the sooner he travels, the better. And if he's advising people who to buy, then I don't know. Then there is no hope. Steve, I watched a superb game last night. Chelsea 2, Arsenal 4. What a great game! Now,
here, Arsenal played very well. I mean, you know, gifted the first goal, but you know, it's you know, this I was again listening to sort of pundits afterwards, and you know, they said, look, you know, Arsenal have lost. You know, lost to Brighton, lost to Southampton, and yet they go to Chelsea and score 4. You know, but it was a much needed win for them, because it obviously puts them back up with Spurs. So those Spurs got a game in hand now. But it just shows Chelsea are very fragile at home. I mean, they 4 against Brentford, 3 against Real Madrid, 4 against Arsenal. Away, you know, they're a different team.
Yeah.
You know,
Tuchel doesn't seem to
know his best 11. You know, he played Lukaku. You know, it didn't quite work.
No,
but
nowhere.
you know, it's a lot. I mean, they're going nowhere. Chelsea. They're sitting in 3rd. They're probably safe in 3rd.
Probably.
You know, they can't go any higher. I can't see that Tottenham or Arsenal will catch them. So, you know, 3rd it is for them, and in a cup final.
Yeah, I think that's what they'll be concentrating on. Everton 1, Leicester 1. I watched the last 10 minutes, and Richarlison missed a header from the small box. I thought, here we go. And then Dele Alli closed the corner flag down, got the ball, slung it across. Rondon miscontrolled it, and Richarlison miskicked it in the corner.
I know.
Couldn't believe
saw
it.
the goal in it.
How was Ali? How was Dele Alli?
Tried his hardest.
That point
Big
could
point.
be crucial at the end of the season.
Yeah.
Because if Burnley win tonight,
it's a
you know,
point difference.
and had Everton have lost, they could have gone above them on goal difference.
Yeah.
You know, and obviously for the first time, Everton could have fallen into the bottom three. I think that point just could be huge for them, and it gives them a bit of confidence. They've got Liverpool and Chelsea, I think, their next two games, they're not out of the woods by any means.
Yeah.
They've got to hope really now that Burnley don't win this game in hand, because obviously Burnley have got Southampton, which is a big game for them.
Yeah.
You don't know what sort of Southampton team you're going to get.
Yeah,
I think if Burnley win this, then it is going to go to the wire. If Southampton go and put in one of their big away performances, then I think Everton will probably just about be okay. But it's they've got something to fight for at the bottom. I think it's between those two. I can't see either catching leads at this stage.
Yeah. Newcastle squeaked in, superb goal from Almiron.
Yeah, it was a good goal. Sixth home win in a row. At the beginning of the season, you couldn't think they were lucky. They could buy a point at home. So 40 points, 11th place. It's like really turned the corner, and obviously Eddie Howe coming in, and with, I guess, the impetus, not many new players, but a couple of new players, and it seems to have made a difference for them. So they put themselves in a good position in the summer to go and recruit. Players will look at that and think they're joining a team that could be going somewhere.
Yeah,
so
verge of Europe.
They've done well. Yeah.
Yeah, and Man City 3-0. I saw the last 10-15 minutes, comfortable in the end.
I think at half time, maybe Liverpool fans were thinking, "Go on, Brighton, carry on holding out." But when you look at the stats,
yeah,
they hardly got a kick, Brighton. It was just a case of once City scored, it was game over. Considering Brighton had won at Tottenham and Arsenal in recent weeks, but again, that's going to go to the wire. Any team that slips up, you can see Liverpool and City potentially both of them winning all their last games, so it is going to go to the wire without doubt.
Yeah, I think City have got a couple of tricky games, and we'll discuss that later. Steve, Premiership, kick-off lunchtime. I don't know if I'll be watching it. I think there's a Luton Town are playing at the same time. So
Arsenal, Man United
travel to Arsenal. Any chance United can...
I mean, look, you just don't know. If they both play as they did this week, then you would fancy a home win.
Yeah.
So, United have any aspirations to finish a bit higher than they are at this present moment, they have to go there and look to win. But, you just don't know. Are they going to pull out a big performance? Some of those players should be embarrassed at the way they played on Tuesday, and maybe they will play better. But Arsenal will be buoyed. That was a good win. Played some nice football, scored good goals. I think Arsenal will definitely start as favourites.
Yeah, I was going to make them my best bet until I watched them last night. I think they could have shot their bolt, and to play Wednesday night, a massive game, and it's lunchtime.
Yeah,
everything's against them. They should win. But, we saw what happened with Burnley beat Everton, go to Norwich, didn't perform. Spurs great.
Game.
And just think two inconsistent teams. But I agree, Arsenal in all my bets, they should win. Now, the next game's intriguing. Norwich City, last chance saloon against a Newcastle team who win at home but can't win away. How do you see it?
Yeah, I just think that Newcastle should be a little bit too strong for them. It was a big win for Norwich last time. I can't see them getting enough points to stay up. They'll give it a go, but I just think Newcastle should be too strong. They'll avoid if it's not a draw. If anyone was going to win it, I fancy Newcastle, but they'll be happy with a point, and a point wouldn't be good enough for Norwich. Yeah. So I've been surprised by Norwich that they've actually put up a little bit more of a fight than it looked like they would. But I just still think that they haven't got enough to stay up.
Yeah, it's true. Their best performance was at Old Trafford against United, and you saw what happened there in midweek. Now, the big game this weekend, Brentford-Tottenham. How do you see it?
Yeah, I think that Tottenham will look back. I mean, it was a performance against Brighton. There's no question. I think you look at the weeks leading up to that. If they can recreate any of that form, particularly away from home, they've been strong. I think if anyone was going to win that, I think it'd be Tottenham. Brentford got nothing to lose. 5 wins out of 6. I mean, they've had a great run, but I just think that Tottenham should be a little bit too strong.
Paul, you happy with those comments?
Yeah, very happy with those comments, Steve. I won't have to add to those.
All right. An interesting game, I think, for the last one standing is Brighton at Southampton. Now, we know Southampton play Burnley tonight. I think Brighton will beat them, even though the last 13 times they've met, no home teams won. So,
which is a strange stat. Well, when you think, look, Southampton, we said this last week after they were completely humiliated at home by Chelsea.
Yeah.
We said that, when they've lost 9-0 before, they've come back strong the next week, and they did that. They're probably a bit lucky against Arsenal.
Yeah,
but,
they were,
they held out. Brighton, on the other hand, obviously they were beaten the other night, but the last few games they played well. They played very well at Tottenham and very well at Arsenal. So I think Brighton, and again, because as you say, Southampton are playing tonight, tough game. Burnley are going to be quite physical.
Yeah.
I think that Brighton should win that.
All right. Now here's mentioning Burnley. Burnley host Wolves on Sunday, Steve. Crucial game for them. How do you see them responding?
Very much so. Well, I think it's going to depend
on
what happens tonight. Obviously, if they win tonight, they could be buoyed full of confidence. Again, relatively short turnaround time.
Yeah.
They got two big games. I wouldn't quite say they've got it in their own hands, but they could do, because if they won both Burnley and Everton have got a tough game, probably going to come unstuck. They could pull themselves out of the bottom three. So to a certain extent, it is in their own hands. But Wolves, we know, are a hard team to beat, and they haven't given up hopes of
Top
getting
seven,
a good European place. So I think, for me, I could see Burnley winning tonight, but maybe Wolves holding them at the weekend. But there'd be a good game. This is what makes the Premier League exciting, because there are games at the bottom that have got a lot riding on them.
Yeah, only problem for Burnley is Wolves haven't played in 2 weeks, so they'll be nice and fresh. Ooh. Steve, will be Championship. We won't talk about Fulham going to Bournemouth. I still think they're great value at 2-1 to beat Bournemouth. Seeing that Marco Silva and the players want to win the league there. But Birmingham City hosts Millwall. Millwall's still on the edge of promotion.
Yeah, they are. They had a couple of defeats recently, and you thought that was it, but they pulled themselves back. I think they could get a result. And those teams around the sort of 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, you could perm any two from them. There's hardly any. There's only 2 points in it between sort of 6th and 8th, and I think Millwall have got a great opportunity to sort of plug that gap a bit more, because teams like Middlesbrough, you thought were going to push their way into the top 6. They've picked up 1 point in 4 games and not scored. So I think if anyone's going to win, I think it will be Millwall.
Okay, and Derby County, unfortunately for the Wayne Rooney supporters, were relegated last week after losing at QPR. I watched them beat Fulham, and the crowd were with them. Do you think they'll beat Bristol City?
I think they will. I think I know they're down, but I think they're going to go down and show a bit of fight.
Yeah.
As you say, the crowd have been very supportive because of all their off the field issues. It sort of brought the club together a bit.
Yeah.
So Bristol City got nothing to play for. They're safe. I just think that if they're still prepared to show a bit of fight, Derby, then I think they would be favourites to win that. But at the moment, the takeover of the club is still in the balance. They've only got something like 5 or 6 contracted players at the end of the season. It's it could be carnage if they can't get this sorted out.
Yeah, I listened to Simon Jordan. I think it's Talk Sport, and that's his mate who owns Derby, and he was saying that he's pulled the plug. It's cost him over 20 million, and he was saying he's pulled the plug. Whereas Simon Jordan, when he was at Palace, he said I think he went bankrupt trying to keep them afloat. He didn't want to liquidate the club and that. So it's very interesting.
Well, it is, but the bottom line, it's like, and a previous Palace owner, who I know friends who know him, a guy called Mark Goldberg, who bought it, big Palace fan. He sunk all his money into Palace, lost everything. Yeah. At the end of the day, you can't expect somebody to put all their money in and go bankrupt just to keep the club afloat if other people aren't, sharing the responsibility. Mel Morris has done a lot for Derby, put a lot in. It hasn't worked. Having said that, they did go over the top. They did fall foul of FFP because they spent more than they should have. They didn't have, so it came back to bite them. And with this 21-point deduction, they were probably never going to stay up. The fact they put up a fight, I think, is testament to Rooney and some of the players. But otherwise, they could have gone down with a whimper, and we wouldn't be talking about it as much. But they've got to get this sorted out. The club could almost go out of existence if new owners don't come in. So.
Talking about clubs that have put up a fight as Reading. Since Paul Ince has taken over, they've done great. Yeah, they only need 2 points from the last 3 games. You see them staying up, Steve, against or beating a Hull? Sorry, should I say?
I think they will stay up, only because I'm not sure the teams below them will get enough points to capture them where they are anyway. Yeah. But they've had a couple of they've wobbled a bit, but that was a big fighting performance the other day from 4-1 down to get back to 4-4. On that point, could make a huge difference. But as you say, Paul Ince has come in after not managing anywhere for a number of years, and he's instilled a bit of fight in them. And they haven't got the worst side. They did have injuries. Lucas Shaw, who's a fairly decent forward in the Championship, was back from injury. So I think they'll do enough to stay up.
Against Hull, you see them getting a result?
I think they can do. Yeah, I can't see why they can't. Whether they'll win, I don't know, but I think they've got enough about them to at least get a point.
Okay, Stoke City against QPR. QPR beat Derby last week. Stoke City?
Yeah, both really inconsistent. Stoke had a good win recently. They won at West Brom, then go and lose at home.
Yeah, we were on them. Yeah.
QPR have shown very little form, and then beat Derby. It wasn't the best game, and then came back and drew at Huddersfield 2-2.
Yeah, I watched that game. They played well. They should have won. Yeah.
I think it will be close. I can't see QPR getting into the playoffs now. I think they're just a little bit adrift. Yeah. I can see, if anyone's going to win, I think it would be Stoke.
All right, Steve, last but not least, another big game. Swansea City hosting Middlesbrough.
Well, Middlesbrough have just fallen off a cliff in the last few weeks. I mean, obviously, the first of those 4 games, Fulham went there and won. But since then, losing at home to Hull, drawing at Bournemouth was a good result, and then losing big game against Huddersfield. Yeah. Swansea are playing really well. They play some good football. Just a little bit adrift of a playoff place, but one of the more informed teams. I can see Swansea, if not winning, holding them. So and Middlesbrough are starting to fall away. They're falling away from the top 6, and I'm not sure they'll get a result that will help them anymore at the weekend.
All right, Steve. Pressure time as normal. I need your best bet and value bet, please.
Yeah, I'm going to go for Huddersfield as my best bet. Okay. I think in the derby against Barnsley, but I think Huddersfield could cement, third stroke 4th place.
Huddersfield, your beauty.
With another win. And I think my value bet, I'm going to go for Swansea. I think, they're playing really well, and I'm not sure that Borough should be clear favourites the way they haven't scored in 4 games.
All right, well, Steve, I'm going for Brighton. I'm signing with your Fulham boys. I've taken your advice. I think 2-1 Fulham is a big price. I know if I was a Fulham player, I'd want a bit of silverware. Go there, shut Scott Parker's, put him in the check and win the league there. But I know you've gone up, but
it will be a good game. It's interesting that having sort of, the Sky is covering a lot of the Fulham games, and in fact, our next 2 games at home, Forest and Luton on telly. I am surprised they didn't pick the Bournemouth-Fulham game on the basis that we could win the league there and first against second. Yeah. They've shown some random games. Maybe they just felt they're showing too many Fulham games. Yeah. We've had so many games on TV and so many games change, so it's probably quite nice to be playing 3 o'clock on a Saturday.
Yeah, I thought they'd be looking more in Bournemouth, because Bournemouth are second, they're 5 points above Notts Forest, and they've still got to play them. So
that's why. So Bournemouth probably they can't afford to lose at home to us, especially if Forest go to Peterborough and expect it to win. So a draw wouldn't be the worst result for us. I think it will keep that gap to 9 points. I think that would be enough for us. 1 more win, against, or a couple of draws, probably be enough after that to win the league. So it'd be nice to win it in style, to go there and win it at Bournemouth, but I wouldn't be at all surprised if it ends up all square.
All right, Steve.
All the best, Stevie B.
Thanks, well done. Well done again, Steve. And just make sure you got the season tickets when we come over for next year. Our next season, should we say. All right, Steve, thanks very much. Have a good weekend.
All the best, Steve.
Yeah, cheers. Bye.
Right, but Premiership fixtures. You've touched on a few with Steve. Arsenal, Man United. It does look like Arsenal at the moment, but
they've shortened. Paul, they were 13-10 yesterday. They're 11-10 this morning.
A month ago, you wouldn't have been taking 13-10 Arsenal.
Well, you just don't know. Arsenal have played great. I'm sure the guys will put the odds up now, but you got to think Arsenal, Paul. The way they played last night against Chelsea, the way Man United played against Liverpool. A lot of people will be on Arsenal. The only doubt I've got, United can't get any worse, and Arsenal can't get any better. You know, they beat Chelsea. Yeah, this is a lunchtime kickoff, Paul. If it had been a Sunday game, different story. But they'll be cock-a-hoop. United will be waiting. Paul, Arsenal should still win. You know, I can't have Man United against anybody, so it should be Arsenal all day.
1 to 10 Man City.
Paul, you know, they know what to do. They've got a game in midweek against Real Madrid, Champions League, but Watford are nowhere, Paul, and it should be a nice, easy cruise. 1 to 10.
Leicester City, they drew last night.
Paul, they you know, I didn't think it was their best team, but listening to the guy that was commentating, he said it was their best team. Now, they're playing the Europa League next Thursday, semi-final against Roma.
Yes.
I expect him to rest quite a few of their better players, Madison's and them. Aston Villa haven't played for 2 weeks, Paul, but they've lost their last 4.
Sure.
You know, Gerrard will have them fired up, but Leicester are hard to beat. Paul, I can see goals in that game, Paul. I think the draw's a big player, 24 to 10, yeah?
Norwich, Newcastle.
You know, Paul, I watched a little bit of the Norwich-Burnley game. Max Cormier missed an absolute sitter when Norwich are 1-0 up. But they're fighting Norwich. You saw them against Man United.
Yes.
Some teams play better with no pressure. Newcastle away from home, Paul, they're woeful. They've lost their last 3. Spurs beat them 5, could have been 8.
Yeah.
So you just never know what you're going to get. Paul, this is 1, 2, 3 for me. I don't see Newcastle and the Exotics getting beat, but don't be surprised if there's an upset there.
Okay, then let's go Brentford Spurs. I like Spurs. I think they're a better team.
Well, they stuck me out of the last one standing competition. I entered last week. I couldn't believe how bad they were, early kickoffs. But Brentford had done great, Paul. But that was maybe the wake-up call Spurs needed. Yeah, they'll silence and keep tight on Eriksen. Well, it should be a good game. I'm impressed with what I've seen.
We got a good side.
It's time that Spurs showed what they were made of.
Okay, let's go on to Chelsea West Ham.
Paul, you know, Chelsea,
London
he spoke
derby.
about London derby. You know, West Ham also play, they play Eintracht Frankfurt in the Europa League on Thursday, but they had a break for the first time in a long time. They've been playing Thursday, Sunday for weeks. I don't know what David Moyes is going to do, but I think he'll have to play his best team. Chelsea, Paul, can't defend anymore.
Wow.
You know, we wouldn't be surprised if it was another upset, Paul. I just couldn't believe what I was watching yesterday.
Yeah, me too. Me too. I couldn't believe it.
You know, Lukaku's definitely lost it. He's not going to play. But, Paul, any result there. Originally, I was all over Chelsea. But it wouldn't surprise me after watching last night if that ends up in a draw.
Yeah. Okay, Burnley Wolves. I think Wolves will beat them.
Paul, 17 to 10 Wolves, Paul. They're in one of our bets. They haven't played for 2 weeks. So this will be Burnley's 3rd game in a week. And it's not easy, Paul. Wednesday at home, pressure. Norwich away. They play Thursday night, Sunday night. Everything's teed up for a Wolves victory there.
I'm Wolves all the way. Brighton, Southampton.
Paul, if you look at all the stats, you can't go for Brighton. They haven't scored at home in the last 5 games, but they played great against Arsenal. They played well against Spurs. They played okay last night. Man City at the Etihad's a difficult game.
So
Southampton, you don't know.
They've had a couple of hard games now. Southampton have started to turn it after their big defeat.
Paul, they beat Arsenal last week, but I watched that game. Fraser Forster should have got man of the season after that effort. Arsenal destroyed them, but they couldn't score. Brighton's my best bet, Paul. At the value, 12 to 10, Paul. All the stats say no, but what I've seen lately, I fancy Brighton.
Merseyside derby, only one team.
Only one team in it, Paul. Liverpool.
They're playing well, Liverpool.
Playing great, Paul. They've got competition for places, happy squad, a lot of quality players. It's a mismatch.
Palace bounced back 2 defeats in a row now.
You know, turned over, they got beat, but they had a runaway. And Sahar went the wrong way. Although they would have been 1-0 up. It was 3 against 1. And that Conor Gallagher was going off his head. The goal that Newcastle scored, Paul, was a brilliant goal. But Leeds haven't played for a while. They're unbeaten in 4. This new manager's got them tight. But I like Crystal Palace, Paul. I like what I've seen from Vieira. I know they were disappointing in the Cup, and last night they got beat. They don't get beat at Selhurst Park too often, Paul.
Championship.
Oh, Paul, pressure's on, Paul. Must-win games for the majority of the teams.
Stevie likes Huddersfield.
Yeah, I agree. At home, Barnsley have got to win all 4 games to stay up, and which is very limited. Their chances should be Huddersfield, Paul. They're playing well. They win that, I think they're in the playoffs.
Luton are 4th, Blackpool are 16th.
Well, I watched Blackpool go to Fulham and draw 1-1. They should have beat Fulham, so they have it in them. But Luton at home, Paul, they've only lost 1, I think it's about 9. That was to QPR on a Sunday game. They beat Forest, Paul, 8 to 10. It's a little bit short, Paul, but I think they'll win.
Okay.
Bournemouth, Fulham. Paul, we're on Fulham. Yeah, they're a better team. I know the pressure's off them now, but if you want to go somewhere and win the league, this is a statement game for Fulham. You know, Paul, 2 to 1 is a big price. I can't have Bournemouth. You know, that's my best each way value. I know they've gone up, and that's why the betting's gone the other way.
Yeah.
But Fulham are a far better team, and I think they'll win. 2-1's a great price.
Birmingham, Millwall.
Boy, it should be Millwall. The only thing is Millwall haven't won away from home in the last 4, but they came to Deepdale and could have beat Preston, and we're not a bad team at home. Birmingham, I watched against Coventry last week, Paul. They were 2-0 up. That's Lee Boyer's team. They got beat 4-2. So there should be goals, Paul, but it's a great chance for Millwall to try and sneak into the playoffs in 7th place.
Derby, nothing to play for. Bristol, nothing to play for.
Well, there should be goals, but I was really impressed what I saw from Derby at home to Fulham. The crowd were with them, Paul. I know whether they're with them now that they've gone down, I don't know. But 11-10, Paul. I like what I saw and I listened to Wayne Rooney. They had a go at QPR. I think they'll beat Bristol City, Paul. 11-10. I think it's a fair price, but the situation that they've been relegated, you just don't know how it's going to affect the team. But I like Derby of the two.
Hull City 19th, Reading 21st.
I like Hull, Paul. You know, they went away from home, and I think it was Middlesbrough. I backed Middlesbrough. They went there and outplayed them. They won 2 of their last 3. Last week they got beat at Millwall. They're competitive. They finished the season strong. Reading need 2 points from the last 3 games. Or Peterborough and Barnsley have to win their remaining games. If they don't do that, they stay up. I think Paul Ince has done a great job. I think there'll be goals, Paul. But of the 2 teams, I like Hull City.
Not Forest beat the Posh.
Should be, Paul. You know, Peterborough got to go for it. You know, Forest are going well. They're 5th. They can still qualify automatically. 5 points behind Bournemouth. If that goes pear-shaped, that game, and Forest
They
win,
lose to Fulham, and then it's 2 points.
and they've got each other to play.
Yeah.
So big game for Notts Forest, Paul. 7-10, good price.
Okay, and then we're going to go Sheffield United.
It should be,
Cardiff.
Paul. They don't get beat at home, and they were on against Bournemouth, and they missed 2 sitters late. They drew 0-0. I think they'll win easy, Paul. Sheffield United 6-10.
Okay, Stoke City QPR.
Paul, I was going to make Stoke City my best bet, but last week I went for them. They had like 12 shots on target, never scored, and got beat 1-0 by Bristol City. They beat Blackburn away on Monday. I think they'll beat QPR, Paul. QPR have only beat Derby in their last, I think it's 7 games. So Stoke for me, 12-10 is a great price.
Swansea Middlesbrough.
Tough game, Paul. Middlesbrough, you know, they played great in the Cup. Since they got knocked out the Cup by Chelsea, they've really struggled. They lost 2 at home. Lost to Fulham, which was understandable, but the next game they were poor. Swansea are going well, unbeaten in a while, Paul. The draw's a player for me there.
Okay, West Bromwich Albion.
Steve Bruce has got them going, Paul. Bother the defeat at home by Stoke City, they had a good run. I think they can beat Coventry, Paul. 11-10.
Coventry pulled a couple of
Yeah,
surprises.
they pulled better away from home than at home, but I like West Brom in there.
And Preston Blackburn.
Paul, local derby, I think it's 12-10, over 2.5 goals. That's my play. But Blackburn have got to go for it, Paul. There's always goals when these teams play.
Yeah.
Great game. It'll be on Monday night. Hopefully my boys can get a result, but goals is the way to go there.
All right, let's go PSL. Now, interesting to watch now. Golden Arrows.
Yeah, Sekakuna United.
Sekakuna United.
Yeah, their last
9th
game,
place,
Arrows,
10th.
they got beat 6-0 by Sundowns, so they'll rebound. They're playing at Sugar Ray Kulu Stadium in Claremont. Sekakuna have only won 1 game in the last 11, so a great chance for Golden Arrows to get a result. But we know the draws are played in all of these games, Paul, but Arrows, I fancy Arrows of the 2 teams. And also fancy TS Galaxy. They drew with Chiefs. They beat Swallows in a big game last week. 4 points from the last 2 games. Maritzburg are slowly drifting into that relegation position. I like TS Galaxy, Paul. I think 18-10 is a fair price. You know, Stellenbosch Chiefs. You know, you just never know with Chiefs. You went last week against them. They got beat by Supersport. They like Man United, Paul. I don't know what half of the players are doing. Speak to several of their supporters. It's time to get rid of the old guys, get the youngsters in. Steve's done a good job at Stellenbosch. I think a draw's a player there, Paul. 19-10.
Naruma, Supersport.
Supersport, Paul. Yeah, Maruma Gallants are going well. They're playing the semi-final of the Cup next week. So they play TTM, a team below them. But Supersport, you just don't know. They're like Chiefs. You know, they beat Chiefs last week, 1-0. The week before that, they got well beat. A draw is a game, Paul. I don't see Maruma Gallants getting beat. It's 1-2-3 in exotics, Paul, but the draw naturally a big player.
Okay.
You know, Royal AM, Amazulu, local derby. You know, Royal AM at Chatsworth Stadium, Paul. I think it's 9 wins and 2 draws.
3rd in the log.
Yeah, but Amazulu under this new coach, Brandon Truter, they've won their last 2 league games. A tight game, Paul. I think a score draw there. I think it was 15-10, the score draw. So that would be my suggestion there,
Okay.
Paul. And,
Battling Swallows.
well, we're hoping for Dylan Kerr. You know, they're hanging in. This is a massive game, last second bottom.
Yeah.
So the draw, obviously, both teams won't want to get beat. Of the two teams, I like Swallows, but anything's possible in that particular clash, Paul.
All right, Budge, let's have a look at your picks.
Yeah, soccer exotics kick off with the Gold Circle Soccer 6. I'm bankering Arsenal to beat Man United. I've gone the field in the Leicester Aston Villa game. I'm going Newcastle to avoid defeat at Norwich City. I'm going Inter Milan, win and draw at home against Roma. The big game in the Bundesliga, I see Bayern Munich beating Borussia Dortmund. And I've gone the field in the London clash between Brentford and Tottenham Hotspur 2-1-6. Onto the PSL Soccer 6, I'm going Golden Arrows, win and draw at home against Sekakuna. I'm going TS Galaxy to avoid defeat at home against Maritzburg. Stellenbosch Kaiser Chiefs, I'm going the field. Mamelodi Sundowns playing the CAF. They lost 2-1 the first leg. I think they'll beat Angola's Petra de Luanda. I think Bayern Munich will beat Borussia Dortmund. And I'm going the field in the Maruma Gallen Supersport United match 2-1-6.
Okie
To
dokie.
our Gold Circle Soccer 10, I'm bankering Arsenal to beat Man United. The field in the Leicester City Aston Villa game, I'm banking Man City to beat Watford. I'm going Newcastle United to avoid defeat at Norwich City. Eintracht Frankfurt who knocked out Barcelona in the Europa League. I don't see them losing at home to Hoffenheim. Onto the second page, I'm going Inter Milan, win and draw against Roma. Bayern Munich to be too good for Borussia Dortmund. I don't see RB Leipzig losing at home to Union Berlin. I'm going the field in the Brentford Tottenham game, and I'm bankering Paris Saint-Germain to beat Lens 288. Soccer 13, the big one. Yeah, I'm going the field in the Brentford Tottenham game. I'm bankering Man City to beat Watford. Going Aston Villa, win and draw at Leicester. I'm going Newcastle United, another away team, to avoid defeat at Norwich City. I'm chancing, I need bankers, Paul, so I'm chancing Fulham to win at Bournemouth. I'm going the field in the West Brom Coventry City fixture. I'm going Swansea City to avoid defeat at home against Middlesbrough. Second page, I'm banking Millwall to beat Birmingham. Hull City to win at home against Reading. Going for Notts Forest to beat Peterborough. Stoke to beat Queen's Park Rangers. Sheffield United to beat Cardiff City. And I've gone Derby County, win and draw at home against Bristol City, 288.
Okay, Budge's best bets.
Yeah, Paul, I've gone with Premiership treble. I'm going Arsenal to beat Man United. I'm going Brighton to beat Southampton and Wolves to beat Burnley, 2,300 to 200. Onto the Championship, I'm going Fulham to beat Bournemouth, Stoke City to beat QPR, and over 2.5 goals in the Hull City Reading and Preston Blackburn matches, 4,800 to 200. Onto our team goals, I'm going Arsenal, Man City, Wolves and Fulham, all to score over 1.5 goals or a minimum of 2, 3,000 to 200. Our both teams to score sides are Leicester City, Aston Villa, Birmingham, Millwall, Hull, Reading, West Brom, Coventry City, and Preston Blackburn, 3,600 to 200. Our PSL, I'm going TS Galaxy to beat Maritzburg United, and both teams to score in the Royal AM Amazulu and Swallows Baraka FC games, 2,300 to 200. And our Connors King 6 or Nix, and I'm going Arsenal to beat Man United, Brighton to beat Southampton, Liverpool to beat Everton, Man City to beat Watford, Stoke City to beat QPR, and Barcelona to beat Rayo Vallecano on Sunday, 3,600 to 200.
All right, Budge, let's see if we can get those to fire. So they're the Budge's best bets for this weekend. Don't forget the last one standing. There's 11 left, 3 of them are women. The bets must be on Saturday by 11 o'clock. There's early kickoffs. And until next time, stay on side.